Hello viewers, welcome to UN College Digital class. In today's class, I am going to discuss about some interesting topic related to C++. In the previous class of C++, already I have discussed call by value, call by address and call by reference. In this class, I am going to discuss about constant argument, default argument and inline function which are related to function. Let's start. We know that constant is a keyword, and when the constant keyword is used with a variable, the value of the variable cannot be changed or updated. Similarly, one argument can be used as constant argument. Here we will discuss about that. In C++, an argument to a function can be declared as constant. The argument with constant value should be initialized during the function declaration. It is the rule. Whenever you will declare a variable with the constant keyword, that must be initialized. The same rule is applied in case of argument also. Now here I want to show you the syntax of declaring or using constant argument. Type, function name, constant, data type, variable name equal to value. Here I am using constant as const. Const represents the constant keyword. Here the type represents the return type, function name you may use any name as function name, and inside the bracket we have used one syntax only here as constant, data type, variable name equal to value. Now here I am taking one example so that you will be clear on the concept. In the example I have used int max, inside the bracket constant int a equal to 3, int b. Here max is the name of the function, int is the return type, and we have used two variables, those are int a and int b, but here int a is one constant variable and the value is equal to 3. You have to use the initialization during declaration, it is the rule. Okay. Then here I want to explain the same thing once again, that the qualifier constant tells the compiler that the value of the argument cannot be modified, and if you will attempt to modify, then compile time error will be generated. We can indirectly modify the value of the constant argument by using pointer. Okay, we know the powerful feature of pointer. By using pointer you can modify the constant argument value. Compile time error occurs only when we pass arguments by reference or pointer. Here I want to give one example in which if I will modify the value of the constant argument or constant variable, then error will be produced. Here I have used a small segment of function, that is void function. Inside the function I have used constant int v equal to 0. Inside the function body, if I will write v equal to v into 2, then immediately error will be produced, because here I want to modify the value of the variable v. But if I will write the same function in this way, then there will be no error. Why? Because here inside the second function I have used cout v into 2. Here I will get the updated version. If the suppose v equal to 5, then in the second function I will get the value as 10. It means that we can get the updated value after performing any arithmetic operation, okay, during display, but you cannot modify the value. Now I am going to discuss about another powerful feature which is called as default argument. In C++ programming, we can provide default values for function parameters. If a function with default argument is called without passing argument, then the default parameters are used. Okay, it is very interesting feature exactly. If arguments are passed while calling the function, the default arguments are ignored. Okay, here I have used the syntax return type, function name, parameter 1, parameter 2, you can use any number of parameter. Suppose you are using only 2 parameter and you want to use the default argument, then in case of the second parameter you may use the default value. This is a rule. I will explain the rule later. Okay. Here I have used one example of function declaration. The name of the function is int fn underscore multiply. Inside bracket I have used int x, int y equal to 1. Here I have used two variables x and y, and here int y equal to 1. This is the default argument. Okay. Then the default arguments are different from constant argument, as constant argument cannot be changed, whereas default arguments can be overwritten if required. It means that if you are using constant argument, then the value of the variable cannot be changed. But if you are using default argument, if necessary, you may use some other value. Okay. This is the difference between default argument and constant argument. Here I am taking one example of default argument so that you will be clear on the concept. Okay. Hash include iostream_h, hash include conio_h. Here I have used one function int add, and inside int add I have used three variables. Those are int x, int y and int z. And here int y value is initialized with 20, int z value is initialized with 30. These are default argument, but instead of writing this, if I will just slightly change this, it means that if I will use constant keyword here, then that will be called as constant argument. Inside the function body, I am just writing a very simple statement, that is return x plus y plus z. It means that the value, the addition of x, y, z will be returned. Okay. Inside void main, I have used one rs variable, rs equal to add 5. When you are passing only one argument, the x value will be initialized with 5, y value will be as usual 20 and z value will be as usual 30. Similarly, so that here you will get the output 5 plus 20 plus 30, it means that 55. Okay. Suppose you will use another function call, that is rs equal to add 4 comma 8. Here what will happen? Here x value will be 4, y value will be 8 and z value will be 30. So that you will get output 4 plus 8 plus 30. It means that 42. Similarly, if you will use another function call, and in the function call you will write add 7 comma 3 comma 4. In this case what will happen? X will be initialized with 7, y will be initialized with 3 and z will be initialized with 4. It means that here y and z will be overwritten and you will get output 7 plus 3 plus 4, that is 14. Now here I have used the same statement, the function call and corresponding output. When you are using add 5, at that time sum is 55. When you are calling the add function as add 4 comma 8, the sum is 42. And when you are writing add inside bracket 7 comma 3 comma 4, the sum is 14 in this way. Default arguments are overwritten when calling function provides values for them. Okay. If you will not provide the value, then the value which is initialized, that will be used. This is another characteristics of default function, default argument. During calling of function, arguments from calling function to called function are copied from left to right, and that's why we have to be careful at the time of using default argument. Now I am taking one example so that you will be clear on this concept. Here I am taking one simple segment of function with default argument to explain one important characteristic. Suppose you are writing a sum function and you want to use one default argument, and suppose you are writing the function in this way, void sum int a, int b equal to 10, then int c, because here you need to use only one variable as default argument, then here system will prompt error. You cannot use in this way. And if you want to use only one variable as default argument, then you have to write in this manner, void sum int a, int b, int c equal to 10. It means that you will use default argument from right to left manner, not from left to right or in the middle. This is the one rule, one important characteristics of default argument. I hope you have understood these characteristics. Now we will discuss about inline function. In C++, the inline function is a powerful option to increase the performance of the program. Actually, inline is a keyword. Okay, inline keyword is used with the function name to make the function as inline function. At the compile time, compiler replace the function definition of the inline function instead of calling function definition at the runtime. We will discuss about this feature or the working procedure of inline function later in detail. Okay. Here I am just going to discuss about some important aspects related to inline function. Actually, inline function is a request, it is not a command. We cannot say that inline is a command or instruction. It is a suggestion to the compiler, and the compiler may reject the suggestion or may accept the suggestion. Okay. But in order to use the inline function as inline function by the compiler use some condition or compiler check some criteria, and in this case the criteria are the function should not contain static variables. It means that if you are writing an inline function and if the inline function uses any static variable, then the function will not be treated as inline function, it will be treated as general function. Then the second criteria is the function should not contain switch case, loops and go to statement. Okay. In this case, it will not prompt any error. It will only use this function as non-inline function or general function. Then the next criteria is the function should not be a recursive function, and the last one is the function should not be big and complex one. The function should have return statement or return type should be void. Obviously, it means that if you are returning something, if you are doing some sort of complex operation, then inline function will be treated as general function, not inline. Here I have used the syntax of declaring inline function: inline, return type, function name, parameter, then the body of the inline function. Then here I have used a simple example to explain the inline function. Okay. Hash include IOStream, hash include connew using namespace std, inline int square, int x, int main. Inside int main I have used int a equal to 2, b equal to 5, and I am calling the square a for the first time. When I am calling the square a function, it will display 2 into 2 or 2 square equal to 4, and second time when I am calling the square b, at that time it will display 5 into 5 or 5 square, that is 25. When we are using inline function, it is advisable that you should use void as return type. You may use any other return type what I have used here to show you, but you should avoid to use it. Okay. Now we will discuss about the advantages. It speed up the function calls by avoiding overhead calls of function. Then the second one is it increases the performance of the program. And the last one is the push or pop in a stack does not happen in a function as there are no overhead calls. Now I am writing a simple inline function to explain how it works. Okay. Suppose the function is void. I am writing a very simple function here, void so then int x. Okay. Then inside void so I am writing cout x, then void main. Yes, I have to use the keyword inline to make the function as inline. If I will not use this, then the function will be treated as non-inline function or a general function. Void main. Inside void main, just I am writing so 10. Okay. Then I am writing so 20. Then I am writing so 30. What will happen here exactly? When you are writing an inline function, what is happening exactly? Suppose you are, let me first explain, suppose you are not writing an inline function, what will happen? Suppose I am writing the same program here without using the keyword inline. What will happen? You can see, so that you can compare in between these two functions. One is inline and another one is general, and you will have clear concept. Okay. Inside void show cout x, that's all. I am writing a very simple one so that you can understand. Then void main, then show, I am just calling the show function, I am using the same variable here, show 10, show 20, then show 30. Okay. Here you can see the difference. This part is inline and this part is non-inline or general. What is happening in that case? When I am writing this program, when the program will be executed, what will happen? Suppose this is void main. Okay, this is main function, and suppose this is show function. When you are calling show 10, control, suppose the statement show 10 is here, show 20 is here, and show 30 is here. Okay. When I am using the statement show 10, control will come to this part, from this part to this part, and to maintain the address this one, and to maintain, it means that we have to maintain two addresses, source and destination. This is the source part, this is the destination part. One stack is used. Okay. One stack is used, and the stack is used or maintained by the operating system. When you are calling show 10, system will or control will come from this point to this point, perform the operation and again return back. It is taking extra time, coming from this point to this point and returning from this point to this point. When you are calling show 20, again the same operation will be performed, coming from show 22 or main function to show function, and after performing the operation returning back. When you are calling this one show 30, again the same operation, coming and returning. This is happening in case of non-inline function, and for this one stack is maintained by the operating system, stack is used here, and number of push operation and number of pop operation are performed. But if I will use inline keyword here, what will happen? Here I am using the same coding, so 10, so 20, so 30. What will happen here? During compilation, when the coding or when the memory will be allocated inside the RAM, suppose this is main function, when the show 10, in the show 10 statement, the coding will be replaced or the coding will be placed instead of show 10. Similarly, in case of show 20, the coding will be placed here. In case of show 30, the coding will be placed here. It means that the function, there will be no function call in case of inline function. The function coding will be placed at the place of function call. And for that reason, no stack is required. Here, stack is not required, or number of pop operation or push operation are not performed. That's why it is faster in comparison to this one. This is the advantage of inline function over general function or non-inline function. But there are some restrictions. Some restrictions are related to inline function. What are those? You cannot use any complex activities inside the inline function. For example, suppose you are writing one inline function int calculation, and you are using some variables like int x, int y, etc. Okay, and inside the calculation function, you have to use inline keyword here. Inside the calculation function body, you are performing any sort of complex activities like recursion. You may use recursion here. Suppose you are using recursion, or suppose you are using loop, nested loop, etc. Or suppose you are using any complex mathematical calculation, then what will happen? It will not prompt any error, but compiler will not treat this function as inline. Compiler will treat it as general function, and in this case one stack will be used and number of push operation and number of pop operation are performed. This is the characteristics associated with inline. But if we will use inline function to perform simple activities, then it is having advantages over non-inline function. This is all about inline function. I hope you have cleared on the concept of inline function. In today's class, we have discussed about constant argument, default argument and inline function. In case of constant argument, constant const keyword is used with the argument, and if you are using any constant argument, then the rule is what? There are two rules. The first one is you have to initialize during declaration, and the second one is you cannot change the value of the constant argument. Yes, of course you can change the value by using pointer, but this is the basic rule that you cannot change the value. Okay. And in case of then what is about default argument? In case of default argument, also you will initialize the value of the variable, but here you are not using the keyword constant. Okay. And the second rule is that suppose you are passing 3 arguments and you need to use one variable as default argument, then you will use the last one. It means that you will use the concept of right to left manner. Okay, you will place the default argument. And the next one is if you will pass all the values during function call, then the default value will be overwritten, and if you will not pass the value, then the default value will be used. This is the rule with which is associated with default argument. Then what about inline function? We know that inline is a keyword, and the most important point is that inline is not an instruction or command, it is just a request to the compiler. The compiler may treat a function as inline or may not treat a function as inline, but if the function will not work as inline, it will act as general function, and in this case compiler will not produce any error report. Okay. And in which case inline function will not treat as inline function? All those cases where suppose you are using recursion, you are using any complex activities, in all those cases inline function will not treat as inline function. Okay, just as general function. I hope you have cleared on the concept of default argument, constant argument and inline function, but still if you have any doubt, then please write to me in the comment box so that I can clear your doubt. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great time.